and we are gonna paint some pretty petals. And I'm gonna change it up a little bit. Yes, I am. I'm gonna change it up. I am gonna paint these pretty petals in oils. Yes, I am. And I'm hoping that you guys are gonna love it. All right, I thought it was a great time to introduce oils. It's been requested, and there hasn't been a lot of demonstrations in oils. So I thought it was a great thing to introduce, and like I said, it was requested. So I'm gonna flip myself around. Yes, I am. And I do have to tell you, hi Glenda and hi Iris. I have to tell you that it's a tad windy here. Yeah, so if I get lost, I apologize. But hopefully I won't get lost. Hi Bonnie. And here we're gonna go. Okay, we flipped it around and I'm gonna bring it up a little bit. Yeah, let's see what I'm coming in at over here. Okay, doesn't seem to want to increase. Okay, so this is what we're painting. Here we go. This is what we're gonna paint. And Kathy McAllister, how are you, dear? Yeah. Okay, it's a little behind schedule. This is what we're gonna paint. I'm gonna flip this again. Is it, yeah, is the camera working? Hi, Corrine. I can't tell. Yes, split view makes it easier. No, we're not gonna do that. So, I'm hoping the camera's working well. It doesn't seem to want to do its thing. Okay. That's all right. We're gonna get started. So this is the piece that I'm gonna paint today. Okay. And I don't know if we'll get through the whole thing. Colleen's coming in right after me. So I did mix the oils. I thought that it would be best if I did that. All right. So I decided to do that. And I'm using Dynasty Black Gold brushes. And most of them I'm going to be using are going to be chisel blenders. All right. They're a shorter bristle brush. And they're great for blending. So, we're going to start on some leaves. They're a little bit easier. I don't seem to be able to increase the, let's see if I go full screen, if it's increasing. Okay. Oh boy. I don't know if I did that right. Nope. We're having a few little technical difficulties. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if I got lost here. No, I didn't. Okay, here we go. Yvonne Russell, hello. Okay, so we're gonna start with our greens, and we're gonna just bring these in just like this, all right? And this is all blended, all right? And we're gonna bring it in like this. I'm gonna chop it out just like that. It's a rose leaf. We're gonna go a little lighter against the vein here, just a little lighter. And I am going to put out some white. And I did get a little warmed up before we started. I'm going to put out a little bit of white. we're gonna just, see that? It just blends right in. Look at that. Just blends right in. Pinch it on my paper towel. See, I'm gonna pinch it on my paper towel. Go back into the darks. And we're gonna blend it out. There. Against this edge, we're going to get a little darker. And we're going to blend it out. This is all blended. All right. And just like this. Rikenson sent me some oils, so I thought I'd try them. They are nice and creamy. Colors are bright and brilliant. And I'm painting on a wooden block. Doesn't have to be framed. It can stand up on its own. I'm going to go back into some light green, add a little white to it, and just blend it in. Look at that. See, it blends right in. All right. It's all done. Now, I might get that a little tiny bit darker by taking some brown and some Viridian straight out of the tube, and just put in a little bit of darker areas on here. Okay, the colors that I mixed were Viridian green and cad yellow. All right, we're just going to put in just a little tiny bit right there of some darks, and against the vein line we're going to put in a little bit of dark right there. You want to keep it pretty bright. There we go. See, isn't that pretty? Pinch, 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 pinch. And just blend it in on the chisel edge of my brush. All right, a little bit of light is going to come in here on the chisel edge. There we go. Look at that. We're going to break that up a little bit because nature wouldn't have it quite so. There. Just add a little bit of light, a little bit of dark over here. Want to make it look like a hole. All right. There we go. Isn't that pretty? I can't seem to get it to increase. It doesn't seem to like Facebook much. I'm going to drop down a brush size, quite a bit brush size. This is an 8. That's a little too small. Yeah, that's what I got. I got a 4 and a 3. So we're going to go with a 4th. And we're going to go in to this. This is on the underside. We're going to go in right here. Right in here with the light. Add a little tiny bit of white to it. Vaughn, it must be the middle of the night there. I gotta tell you. There, and then we're going to go into the dark. Dark is going to be right in here. No, I need to tip it that way. There we go. Down in here, we're going to put in some real darks, and we're just going to go like that. Right in here. And then some medium, and then some light. Come around. On this edge, we're going to go in with a little bit of dark, straight out of the tube, and blend it out. Add a tiny bit of brown to it. I am adding a little bit of brown because I want it to turn darker. Okay, and the brown is going to help to turn it darker. There we go. All right, pinch out my brush again and just soften it out. There we go. Now, usually on the stems, we're going to go pretty dark. This is a white rose, so I'm not going to tone it with pink or red. I'm going to tone it with, I'll tone it when we start the rose, okay? And then this one in the back, we're going to make it dark right at the bottom. There we go. All right. And we're going to put a little bit of light right in here. There we go. All right. Now, this is really divided. So you're just going to take your brush and soften it out, just like that. Take the brush and just soften it out, just like that, and it's blended. Okay? Up against here, I do want it to have quite a bit of dark. I'm just going to go in there on the chisel edge of my brush to put that in. All right. There. Okay. So that was the green palette. All right. That's the green palette. I'm hoping, Barb, how are you, honey? I'm hoping that everybody's hearing me and I'm not lost here. All right. I am going to just soften that out just a smidgen. Okay, now, this, believe it or not, is the rose palette. Okay, this is the rose palette. Now, there's no green on the rose palette. So, what needs to happen is I need to clean this brush off really, really good because we don't want green in the rose. All right? Now, I'm going to tell you a few things and you can ignore me if you want. Complementary colors make great darks. So we are going to add a tiny touch of red. It's really not red. It's a mix of raw sienna and red to these leaves to just tone them out just a little tiny bit. All right? It's raw sienna and red. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? All right. I'm going to add a touch of burnt umber to it to make it a little darker. And we're just going to add a bit of tone to these leaves. There we go. Pinch the brush. And that makes a prettier color. The color is a little bit bright. Lightly blend it out. Okay. Yeah, lightly blend it in. And yes, the leaves are, the color is dulling down a little bit. Okay, it's definitely dulling down a little bit, which we kind of wanted to do. All right. I am going to go back into a really light white in the middle here. We're just going to blend that in. There we go. Look at that. Clean off my brush. It has way too much paint on it. That's all right. And we're just going to blend that in just like that. Here we go. Look at that. Now, we are going to start the rose. I did want to do that to the leaves. All right. The computer is showing it quite a bit brighter. I'm hoping you guys can hear me and I'm not lost. 7 a.m. Wow. Just coming on from Florida. Hello there, Barbara. Okay, I'm going to start the rose now. I really am going to start the rose. Okay? We're going to start, and when we look at this rose, we're going to start from the back, even though the back isn't necessarily the lightest. The darkest, rather. And we're going to start right here. And that's pretty light. So we're going to take this medium gray, and it's really a gray blue. All right, and we're going to add some white to that. And we're going to come in, and we're going to blend that in. All right. And we're going to blend it in. I'm working with a chisel blender. You know, some days I paint a whole painting with one brush. It just is how I paint. I know you guys don't like to do that. Now, as it comes in here, I gotta tell you, I haven't used this Rikenson oil. It's a nice creamy paint. Here we go. Love my black gold brushes. There, see how light that is? And as it comes out, it's getting a little tiny bit darker. And it has some texture to it up in here, so we're going to give it a little texture. We're going to get this medium light, I'm going to call it. Okay, so I made 2 puddles, and then there's really 3 puddles, and then I'm going to offset it all with by adding white. When we paint in oils, we have a much more limited palette, so we mix a lot more. There we go. And we're going to add I'm going to just tap it in to give it a little bit of texture here and there. All right, because this back petal has a little bit of texture to it. All right, and we're going to pull towards the growth. Everything grows from in here. All right, and there we go. A little bit of texture going on there. And I don't try to match the textures exactly, just keep it in the direction that it's going, and I'm just tapping it. Okay, it's a very heavy, oils are heavy bodied, well, they're heavier bodied. I know that there's acrylics that are extremely heavy bodied. Okay, now this petal is in front of this one, but it's a little bit darker. It's the way it is, all right? So right against it, we're going to put in a pretty dark. And I know what you're saying, it's a white rose, but it's like painting the colors of white. And we are going a little bit darker than it's going to end up being, okay? And we're going to pull that down a little bit, just like that. Just pull it down a little bit, just like that. All right, and now we're going to come in here, against here, and we're going to add some white with a dirty brush. So it's going to be a pretty light. And against this, we're going to blend this out and blend into it. All right, soften it into it. No floating, just blending, and it blends right into it. It's the beauty of oils. You blend it right into it, okay? And this does have gray in here, all right? Now when we're working against the green, we want to be a little bit careful. This is pretty light up in here because I don't want my rose to turn green. There. See, that's pretty light up in there. And there we go. All right, now when we come down here, we're going to add a little tiny bit of the medium right there, okay? Just a little tiny bit. We're going to go into our real light and we're going to blend that out just like that. Here we go. Oils are all about blending. Wow. It's about texture, and the last one that I did on here, I did with using a landscape, and that was about texture. All right, and then this again is going to have a little bit of dark that's going to come over here like this. It's not dark, it's medium dark. And then over here, we're going to go pretty light. Nope. A little bit. Medium that I'm using is terpenoid. It's an odorless turpentine. Sometimes I don't like to use odorless because terps can just offer us some different techniques, but in the studio I almost always use odorless turpentine. My students don't like it, the smell of terpenoid. My husband was funny. I told him I loved the smell of it. He came up one day and he said, "I think you're gonna get high." The smell of the turpentine was really strong. Terpenoid is put out by Weber. I don't know who owns Weber now. I know that the family that started it doesn't own it anymore. Okay, we're gonna come in here. It's available on Blick. There we go. And you can see how. Oh, what time? Oh, I got lots of time. I don't know if we're gonna get to the whole rose, but that's all right if we don't get to the whole rose. There, you can really see how we are just moving along here, and this came right out, and then over here we're going to put in a light. There we go, and we're going to put in a light right here. I'm going to do these two next because I want to show you some of the center work. All right, now this area right in here is a tiny bit dark, so I want to put that in this area right here. It's a tiny bit dark. See that? It's a little bit dark right there. All right, pinch the paint out of my brush and add some more white to my palette. And we are going to come up. This is the whitest. See this? This is the whitest area of this whole rose. We're going to use white right out of the tube, and I pretty much cleaned off my brush because this is the whitest part of the rose. There we go. Okay. Look at that. Now this, as I look at the relationships, this needs to be lightened a little tiny bit in here. I'm gonna add and I'm just adding some white to it and adjusting it. It's not a big super deal. We're gonna add a little bit of light to in here. There. Okay. Now, this area right in here is also pretty light. We're going to add a tiny touch of raw sienna to this, okay? Because that's what it does. And we have to be a little careful because there's a lot of blue in this. So we're going to go like this, all right? And we're going to bring that in right here too. A little bit more raw sienna. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to clean off my brush. I'm going to go in with some blue, and not some blue, some medium gray that I mixed. And we're going to go up in here. Okay. Now, there's a buffer between these guys. Okay. And when I look at this, okay, there's a buffer. I'm going to clean off my brush. I'm going to go into straight white. And I'm going to bring in some straight white. And no, it's not going to stay straight white. I know, some of you are probably like blown away, but that's all right. It's good to grow. It's good to learn something new. There we go. And then you can soften it in. Now, the importance of doing it the way I did it, okay, is it didn't turn green. We don't want it to turn green. All right, and the gray that I made was a real pretty gray. It has a lot of blue in it. Now I'm going to take this dirty brush that has some of this. I'm going to even add a little tiny bit, and just with a light touch, we're going to add some of that to over here. See that? It's light though. It's a light touch that we're going to add over there. And we're going to add a little bit more gray here. There. All right. How am I doing? Oh, I'm good. Pauline's coming on right after me. She's going to do some beautiful stuff, I'm sure. All right, and then we're going to go in like this. And like this. Okay, yep, and that had medium with a little bit of white in it. Because we want it to be a little darker up there. All right. See how that blends right out? Now, as I'm looking at this, even though that's what it does, I think it's a little tiny bit too white. So I'm going to just add a little bit of the golden color to it to soften out that really stark white. Sometimes, even though that's what it looks like, we take artistic privilege because that's what works. There. Yes, I put a little tiny bit of raw sienna yellow mix in there. Okay? And we're just moving right along here. Now, I'm going to put right in here, I'm going to put a little tiny bit of this yellow. Barely on my brush. A little bit over here. And look at that. It's coming right along. A little bit more white right in here. There we go. This is all blended. And it's a really fun way to paint, I gotta tell you. I'll show you some great stuff I'm working on. And I do have a new program that's starting on Saturdays. One Saturday a month, some of them are two, that's in oils in 2026. Okay, we're going to finish this guy, and we're going to go in with some gray that has a lot of white added to it, so it's really a light value. And you can mix all your colors before, so that your whole palette is pre-mixed. I have the tendency to not do that, and but you can. And I have to tell you, while I'm teaching it, I will pre-mix all of the colors there. Yeah, I bet I tipped and you couldn't see. Okay, this is a light gray. So we have a medium dark, we have a dark, we have a medium, and this is a medium light. Okay? And as I look at that, okay, I'm going to go in with the medium, and I'm going to put in some medium in here. And we're going to put some medium right in there. Okay? And then we're going to put some more medium. I don't use a lot of paint, but I move right along. I don't get crazy about it. I paint in oils a little differently than a lot of other decorative artists. All right. I'm going to, right up in here, I'm going to put a light. Blend that out just a little tiny bit because I put a little too much paint. Not worrying about it. And down in here, we're going to come down and we're going to put a crease. Flowers are known for their creases. It's what makes them so pretty. There we go. There we go. See that little crease that we just put in? And then a little bit more white right into here. There. Right into here. And we're just going to blend that out. Soft transitions. You know, I got this thing about soft transitions. You guys that come to paint with me, I adore you all. You got to get sick of listening to me say that too, you know. Soft transitions, soft transitions. Yep. Okay. Yep. Right there. Look at that. It needs a little bit of light right there. We're going to just blend that out and give it a soft transition. All right. There we go. I grew this rose, by the way. Yeah, I do love my flowers. I do. Now, right here, we want it to have a little tiny bit of dark. There we go. There we go. Okay. We're moving right along here. Okay. Now, how is this? This over here is very dark. It's not very dark. It's medium dark, though. It's darker than most of what we've done. This area right in here is probably the darkest area of the flower. You still soften it out. Okay. And right as we come through the middle, we're going to give it a little bit of light, so it glows a little bit. Okay. As it comes up, it lightens up. Okay. There. This area right in here, how am I doing on time? We're good. We're good. I'm still going to get done what I want to get done. There. See that? All right, now this area right in here, we're going to darken this up a little bit with a little bit of gray. We want to be careful. We don't want it to turn green, and it isn't. See, right in here, we're going to just blend it out, soften it out, blend this in. There we go. Okay, this is all blended. Now, right in here, we're gonna we had quite a bit of yellow, probably a little too much. We're gonna add a lot of white. This is another pretty light area. Okay. And then as we come up, we're gonna add even more white. There we go. I think it's starting to look a little pretty. What do you think? It's not done. Remember what my Linda Paul Gordon, she was a great, she made such great impressions on me. She was a wonderful teacher. She taught me a great deal about color and a great deal about painting. But one of the most important things that she taught me was it's not done till it's done. She taught me a lot about the ugly stage of the painting. She didn't call it the ugly stage. She used to call it the war zone. You're in the war zone. Keep going. But you know, sometimes that's true with life. You just have a hard time sometimes. Well, I've had periods in my life where it's been hard. Okay, look at that. It's getting there. Isn't that pretty? I can't really see your comments. I think I have to relearn Facebook. I don't know what it is, but it's okay. This up here that I'm putting in is a light gray. All right, and we are going to add some darker accents to this. Okay, there. Remember, another thing I want to tell you, and you can ignore me. This is one of those things that you can ignore, but it's really true. The lights make the darks darker, the darks make the lights lighter. I'm going to get a little light up there. Okay? And you'll notice on your painting, if you can't get something light enough, it's because your darks aren't dark enough. And if you can't get something dark enough, your lights aren't light enough. Okay, we're going to add some gray, but medium gray, but we are going to add a tiny bit of white to it. All right, and there's that flip. Okay, now I'm going to clean this off, and this is pretty white, pretty light right in here. So we're going to go ahead, and my brush is dirty, so it's a super light gray, but it's not white. You can see that. Add a tiny touch of yellow in here. All right. And then this area, I'm turning it This flip is pretty light, okay? That flip is pretty light. We're going to soften that in. There we go. This needs to be a smidgen darker, so I don't have to, there we go. We're just going to make that a smidgen darker. There. Alright, and then we have this petal right here, and this is even a smidgen darker than that. And we're going to put that in just like that. This over here underneath this petal is a little dark. How am I doing on time? Oh, we're good. Because I want to show you the middle. It's going to like flip you out. This is pretty dark under here. It's a cast shadow. And now we're going to add some whites. And the white is going to come in. I'm going to turn it around. The white is going to come in from the outside edge. Alright. White is going to come in from out here. Now remember what I said, soft transitions. Okay, there we go. Alright. We're just going to pull it, and I want to stay out of the green. I don't want my white rose turning green. Alright. There we go. This right in here is going to get a little bit lighter. Right here. I'm going to turn it around so I get a good clean edge. There. Now, right here, up the middle, we're going to put a light right there, okay, because that's where it is. Whoops, too much paint on my brush. I'm going to pinch a lot of that off. Blend it out. The beauties of oils. Blend it out. Okay. Smidgen of Rossiana in here. Alright, I took most of it off my brush. Light touch, remember, it's the same as if you're painting anything. A light touch is going to release less paint. See this in here? This has to be fixed. How am I doing? We're good. Alright, and now we're going to go in to the medium gray, alright, and right here we're going to put in some medium gray. We're going to soften that out. Isn't that pretty? It's really getting pretty. I'm going to soften it out, but I want to keep that edge really strong. Little bit of white. Nope. My brush is too dirty. I'm going to clean my brush off. We're going to put in a little bit of white. Light, 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 light touch. There we go. Okay, now over here, okay, I'm going to take it on the corner of my brush. No, I'm not. I'm going to clean my brush off, and I'm going to take the corner of my brush. All right? Got to make sure I can see right. There we go. And put in that dark. Clean off my brush. I'm going to put it in turpenoid to clean it off. Alright. After I put it in turpenoid, I pinch it to make sure I get most of the turpenoid off my brush. And with a light touch, we're going to just soften that out. Light touch. There. And we're going to do that over here too. There. Now, it's pretty. I think it has quite a bit of form. I gotta just very carefully, there we go. Alright. Now, see that area? I got it just a smidgen too dark. Too big dark. We're gonna go in and just put in a little tiny bit of white. And soften it out. There we go. Okay? Pretty. It's a little boring. Okay? Now, we're going to go in with this mix I made. And right in here, we're going to go in with this mix I made. It's raw sienna with cadmium red. And we're going to go like that. Okay? Clean off my brush. We're going to bring that up in here. There. Then I'm going to go into this mix of raw sienna and yellow and add some white to it. And I'm going to tap that in right here. How am I doing on time? Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Okay, and we're going to tap that. Nope. Need a little bit more of this mix. Okay, and we're going to tap that in right here. There we go. And we're going to tap. See, I'm not really blending, I'm really tapping. Okay. And we're going to tap that in right there. There we go. I don't have time to tone all the leaves down because the leaves really need to be toned. They're a little bit too bright. Okay? But you got the idea. We're going to tap up in here. All right. I'm going to bring that out even a little more, even though I'm going to take artistic privilege here and bring this out even a little more on this yellow. There we go. I'm liking that better. Now, I'm not bringing it down in here, okay? I'm just keeping it in there. All right? That's good. And I don't know why my camera won't zoom in on Facebook, but it won't. I have to call them on that. Okay, now, I don't really like that one. Just give me one smidgen of a second. I'm going to use what's called a spotter, okay? I'm going to use a spotter, and I'm going to go into this mix that I made with a spotter, and we're going to put little dots here and there, and they're really, and you're just going to just tap it down, all right? And we don't want to, what size spotter is this? This is a 1. We don't want them too big, all right? And we want quite a few of them. None down in here. And yes, they are different sizes and they come all the way up into there. That might have been a little too far, but this one got big. There we go. And a little bit more down in here to concentrate it. I'm going to go into some straight scarlet. Scarlet cadmium is what they're calling it. Then I'm going to go into some more burnt umber. It's a raw sienna and cad mixed. And then I'm going to go into burnt umber. All right. There we go. All right. Now, and then I'm going to take a brush, a liner brush, and I'm going to go into this mix I made, and I want it to be ink consistency. And I'm going to do that with turpenoid. And yes, you can. We are going to bring in some line work. And as you bring in this line work, you might decide that you're going to go over those spots again, some of them, because they got a little too they're not as strong as you want them to be. There we go. How am I doing on time? Oh, I'm good. All right. Everything goes towards, see, did you notice I did a little bit of swirl on those? And then I can go into even lighter with a straight cadmium yellow on some of these lines. There. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to take this mix that I made and I'm going to add some burnt umber to it to make it a little darker. And some of these, oh, that's not good. That's why I use a spotter. There we go. Some of these we're going to make a little bit darker. Not all of them. Okay. There we go. Yeah. All right, now I want to show you something else that I will do as I finish this up. Is no, I have a bigger one here. Is I will and we'll do a little bit more work on the leaves, but up here I want to show you this, where we go in with some darker gray. No, that's a little too dark. There we go. And whoops, you need to see it. All right, and we'll just bring that around like that. I did, when in the preparation of this board, you can't use chalky finish when you're using oils. It doesn't play nice with oils. It doesn't play nice at all with oils. Now, the darker of this really makes this rose pop a little bit better. I wanted to get through a lot of the formation of the rose. See that? Isn't that pretty? And that was more important than all the finish. Okay. Now, I'm not going to be able to finish this in my time. So I want to show you something, because sometimes when you're painting in oils, you're not going to be able to finish. Okay, so you want to blend this out so it's got a soft edge, so that when you go to work on it again, you're not working against a hard edge. See that? You just soften it out so it doesn't have a super hard edge. as you go to, and I'm going to do that on both sides. And that way, when I go to work on the background again, I'm not fighting an edge. Because once it dries, it's gonna be a hard edge, and we're gonna have a fight with that. So you just soften that edge out, just like that, so that when you go to work on it, you don't have a super hard edge to fight. You want to really focus on your piece. Yeah. See how that makes that rose pop right out, and it also brings out the whites of it. Okay, so now I will be on again at 8 o'clock. Eastern time, 7 o'clock Central time, 6 o'clock Mountain time, and 5 o'clock Pacific time. And you'll be able to view this video for a while. I might put it on my YouTube channel. There we go. Oh, see, I got some green in there. Okay. All right. Like I said, I don't feel like the leaves are done at all. I think the rose is gonna, I'll probably add a few more highlights to the rose. But I think the rose is well on its way. I think the leaves need quite a bit of work. Yes, I do. And like I said, I am going to have a painting journey program on oils that starts on Saturday in January. Here's the first one. The first one's a little chickadee, and I'm pretty excited about it. So we'll see how it goes. And, yeah, I'm just adding a little bit more to these leaves. The leaves, in my opinion, are way too bright. They're just too bright. The rose leaves aren't that bright. The thing is the angle in which I shot the picture at, the petals were almost black. So I didn't want them black. The leaves were almost black. There we go. Yeah. And we're just bringing it down on the chisel edge of my brush. And like I said, it's not unusual for me to paint with one brush for a long time. All right, and Colleen's coming on, and I'm sure she's going to have some great things to show you. And I'll see you later on tonight. All right? Everybody had an awesome Christmas. Yes, it is the season. Okay.